Strange World is a fantastic new Disney movie, which Disney do not want you to see. Let's talk about why. Hey guys, I'm Carl. Welcome to my movie film show. Feel free to subscribe down below if you would like to, but today we're here to talk about Strange World. So as I mentioned in the opening, Strange World is a brand new animated movie from Disney. And the strange thing about it is, despite being a big Disney fan, a lover of animation, I hadn't even heard of this movie until I went to check out what was on my local cinema this week, and I saw a brand new Disney animated movie, and I was like, why haven't I heard of this? So of course, then I went and I checked out some trailers. I read a couple of things about the movie and I was like, yeah, I want to check out this movie. It seems pretty cool. But immediately I was struck with how strange it was that I hadn't heard too much about this movie. Because most of the time when Disney have a brand new animated movie, it's everywhere. There has been speculation online, and it's purely speculation. I'm not throwing accusations at Disney here, although kind of. The speculation has been because one of the main characters in the movie is openly gay, that perhaps it wasn't pushed. Because while there's a bigger pandering for more inclusion, if the movie bombs, then Disney can turn around and go, oh, well, we tried to have a openly gay character and then that movie flopped completely. Never mind the fact they didn't push it too hard or as hard as they normally would. And I saw a tweet last night from Discussing Film on Twitter where they said Strange World is estimated to earn $19 million in the film's 5-day domestic box office opening weekend. One of Disney Animation's worst openings of all time. Now, is that because the movie's bad? No. Is that because they didn't push the movie very hard? I would argue yes. For whatever reason, Disney didn't get behind their own movie, which says to me they didn't want people to see this movie. Now, I'm sure there'll be people out there saying, well, I saw the trailer months ago and I saw interviews about it months ago. And sure, they did the whole usual press stuff. They did some press interviews, but I didn't see many pushed around too hard. Even going to my local cinema, which I tried to go at least once a week, I wasn't seeing posters for it every time I went. I wasn't seeing trailers for it every time I went. The only time I saw a trailer for this movie is when I went looking for the trailer of the movie. And here's the thing, Strange World is fantastic. As you would expect, it's got Disney level animation, which is phenomenal. Step below Pixar, but still pretty good. It's got an interesting story. It's got some phenomenal visuals. Right at the beginning, when there's a team of explorers going through this ice cave, there's some phenomenal cinematography, which if it happened in live action, you'd be saying is one of the greatest shots of all time, as ice breaks away and someone's about to fall down a cliff. In the movie, we're met with a family of explorers, and the dad is the big hero explorer, searching for a way beyond the mountain as they live in a place surrounded by mountains which can't be passed. This family want to be the first ones to get beyond the mountains, but on the way, the son finds these plants which have electricity in them, which have power to them. And he says, this is our discovery, not what's beyond the mountain. Let's bring this home and make our home better. And the father disagrees. The father wants to go on and do his exploration. They have an argument. They split. The father goes one way and the son goes the other way. The son goes back to town. We skip forward 25 years later into the future when the city has become a utopia, which have flying cars. They have electricity all of a sudden, which they didn't have before. And the plant discovery that the son made has revolutionized his home. But the father never came back. He was missing and just assumed dead. The son, who has now become a father on his own, has become a local hero. And we're introduced to his family, his wife, his son, who is the gay character that I mentioned earlier. And it's very open within the movie that the character is gay, that he has a crush on one of his friends. And everybody within the movie is very accepting of that. There's no point where so he says to someone, I'm gay, and the character goes, oh my God, what the hell? Or are you sure? Or acts kind of crazy about it. It's just accepted, which is pretty cool. And it's not a cornerstone of the movie that's pushed down your throat all the way through the movie like some sort of agenda. It's also not a key story point where for some reason him being gay saves the day. It's just a very subtle thing in there that there's an openly gay character. More inclusivity, more representation. It's a pretty damn good thing in my opinion. The father character, I guess the middle father character, we'll call him the grandfather, the father and the son. The middle of the family, the father character, he finds out that his plants are dying. On the outskirts of town, some of the plants that they use to make electricity are dying for some unknown reason, and they had to find out why. So with the help of the mayor, I believe it is, who was part of their expedition team at the beginning, and some more flying ships, they travel into the heart of where the plant is to find out what the problem is, find out what the root of the problem is. And along the way, they end up falling through the earth and finding a brand new strange world. And it's a world filled with creatures we've never seen before. The imagination within this movie is phenomenal. Throughout the movie, you've got a father and son trying to reconnect when, spoiler alert, the grandfather comes back. He was in a strange world all along, trapped there. They find him, and now the father and son have to find a way to reconnect. But the son also has to find a way to connect with his actual son. The film has good layers to it. The storytelling is pretty damn strong. And on top of that, as I mentioned, some of the visuals within the movie are truly phenomenal. Now, there was points in the movie where I was sitting there, and I'll be honest with you, I took my phone out just to check what time it was. I got a little bit bored. I was doing a little bit of stretching. But overall, the movie was quite entertaining, and there comes a point near the end of the movie where I sat up and took notice because it really got very interesting towards the end. A little bit in the middle where it's dragged out, but overall, some very good storytelling, very well paced for the most part. The movie's only an hour and 40 minutes long, and it does fly by at a pretty damn good pace. It's interesting, it's unique, some fantastic storytelling and animation, as I mentioned, and in my opinion, is one of the better movies of 2022. Not saying it's the best, but certainly one of the better movies. Now, as I mentioned, this movie wasn't pushed very hard by Disney, and there wasn't a big fanfare for it, and there wasn't even many people going to see the movie. And the reason I know that is because I sat in an empty movie theater when I watched this movie. It was just me. It was quite strange. It's happened a couple of times this year, but this one just felt strange, sitting in the middle of a movie theater for a Disney movie, and there was just nobody else there on the opening night of the movie here in Ireland as well. I checked my local movie theater the next day as well, because you can check the seating plan to pick your seat, and again, there was nobody going to it the next day, because for some reason, despite my cinema usually putting on multiple screenings of brand new movies, and either putting them in the IMAX screen or the recline theater, where you can recline the seats a little bit more expensive, this one was just putting their standard cinema, which they have right down the back of the cinema, and they only had one screening of it per day. So they didn't even push it that hard into the bigger cinemas, into the bigger screens. They weren't anticipating much fanfare for it, much audience for it. And in fact, if I hadn't gone to go see it on opening night, they probably wouldn't have even shown it, because they'd be showing it to an empty room, which is a shame because it's a good movie. I'd highly recommend, if you like animated movies, to go and check it out. And yes, despite being a grown-ass man, I have no problem going to see a Disney movie all by myself, because number one, I'm an adult, I don't care what other people think. And also, I have such respect for animators. When I was learning how to edit and how to make movies, and when I was younger, animation is something I was fascinated by, but I was never good at drawing. But my level of respect only went up when I saw the level of work that goes into animation, especially high-level animation. The teamwork in it, the level of commitment you need to have, the hard work that goes into it. It's harder than making an actual movie. And I don't think it gets enough praise, because I think a lot of animation is just taken for granted nowadays. So ultimately, we get down to a rating out of 10 for Strange World. As I mentioned, I really enjoyed the movie for all the reasons I mentioned below. It's a shame it's not getting pushed like it should, and it's not going to get the attention it should. In my opinion, it's an 8 out of 10 movie. As I mentioned, I believe it's one of the better movies I've seen this year. I'd highly recommend going to the cinema to check it out. But I'd love to know your opinions on Strange World in the comment section below. But maybe animation isn't your thing, and yet you've got to the end of this video. That's greatly appreciated. But if you want to check out another video for a movie you might be interested in, check out this video right over here for a movie I checked out last week called The Menu. And if that's not to your taste, there's another video right over here to check out.